We can gain a lot of insight and inspiration, even when studying the physical body, the meat suit, from the philosophy in which these physical practices emerged. And one very famous yoga book that many yogis study and look to is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Now, in this very beautiful, long book filled with many of these different sutras, little aphorisms, short little statements, very little, nothing is really said about the postures. There's no down dog mentioned, there's no headstand mentioned. There's very little said actually about asana, and arguably only one of these little statements actually deals with how asana, the physical posture, should be performed, right? And this is in the second chapter, the 46th line says, Stira Sukham Asanam. Stira Sukham Asanam. And translated means stira, steadiness, structure, support, boundaries. Sukha, meaning kind of like the French word for sugar, sucra, meaning sweetness, spaciousness, good space, easefulness. And asana, asanam often gets translated as the physical poses, but when you look at the origin of the word, it actually more clearly is defined as seat. So whether he was referring to a meditation seat, should have the qualities of structure and spaciousness, or whether he was talking about the postures, or maybe how we sit in relationship to the postures, to the practice, how we sit in relationship to our bodies, to one another, should have the qualities of openness and expansiveness and good space, but boundaries, just like any of our love relationships, right? If you've ever had a love relationship, maybe in your 20s, that was all about openness and good space and sweetness, but there were no boundaries. Right? And vice versa. If it was all about boundaries and structure and there was no sweetness or space, equally imbalanced, right? We also can recognize this in the study of our physical meat suit. The joints like to carry good space, sweetness, openness. There needs to be space. And that is supported by the muscular scaffolding, the muscular system providing the steadiness and structure and boundaries. One without the other, imbalanced and potentially injurious. So it becomes a really interesting query to start recognizing if you favor perhaps sukha, sweetness, spaciousness, expansiveness, sinking into the joints, openness, range without boundaries, right? In your love life, in your physical postures, in your physical tissues of the body, or maybe vice versa. It's all about boundaries and structure. And maybe you could deal with a little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of softening, right? In any layer of the physical body, mind, emotional body, we can start to ask these questions to provide a better balance, stira sukham asanam, and how we sit in relationship to our bodies, to ourselves, and to one another.